sharing my FPV long-range experiences. Some of you reached out to me and asked for my settings in Betaflight and best practices. Over the last year, I found a lot of useful hints here on YouTube and other platforms I want to share with you in a short video. I am aware that my settings are not perfect, that improvements are always possible, and that the settings do not suit and do not make sense for everyone. But perhaps there is one or another setting you haven't considered so far or that can improve your confidence when flying long range. So let's get into it. I connect my Nazgul to Betaflight and we will go through the relevant settings. Starting with the ports. Here we can basically set up the hardware connected to the flight controller. The GPS module has to be set up correctly here to work properly. I recommend flying with a GPS module only. Without GPS, you have no information about distance, speed, and position during the flight. And the main argument for a GPS module, you can configure GPS rescue, just in case. No matter which GPS module you choose, pretty much any GPS module is better than none. I never had a bad module. M8, M10, they all work and do their job. Here in the Ports tab, you can configure the baud rate of the module. Check the specifications of your module and go for the highest possible value. A higher value causes a higher refresh and update rate. This can help to get a faster GPS fix and more accurate data during the flight. In the Configuration tab, there is no long-range specific configuration I can recommend. GPS has to be enabled to use it. Set the maximum arm angle to 180 degrees to always be able to arm. Perhaps you need this after a crash. Power and battery. Normally, the voltage meter is configured well by default. The ampere meter has to be configured by you for your setup. Do some flights and compare the used milliamperes from your OSD with the recharged milliamperes from your charger. The formula is OSD milliamperes divided by charger milliamperes and then multiplied with the old scale value set in Betaflight. Then set the new calculated value and do the calculation again after the next flight. It is hard to set a correct value here if you fly with different setups. With setups, I mean with different cameras attached or with different batteries. With each battery, I get different scale values, especially when switching between LiPo and lithium-ion batteries. I try to find a scale value that fits with a maximum error of 5 to 10% for all my setups. So we come to the voltage meter. If the ampere meter is not 100% correct, we have to rely on the voltage in the OSD during the flight too. Betaflight shows the calculated voltage if a battery is connected. You can check the value with an external voltage meter. I do this with a smoke stopper connected to easily and safely access the contacts. Be careful when measuring the voltage. A shortcut may damage your battery and drone. In my case, Betaflight shows 21.6 volts and the external voltage meter is between 21.5 and 21.6 volts. That's fine. If the values differ, change the scale value and power up everything again. Measure again and repeat as long as the value differs more than 0.1 volts. Another battery topic is the cell count in Betaflight. Especially when flying with lithium-ion batteries, the cell count can be wrong. I set a fixed cell count via console. You can do this by typing set force battery cell count equals 6. Don't forget to type save and hit enter after this. The flight controller will reboot. Let's get into the most interesting tab, the Failsafe settings with GPS rescue. On the left, you have the Stage 1 settings. This is for a defined time period after losing the connection to your drone. The time period can be configured at the top of the Stage 2 settings. During Stage 1, the inputs can be overwritten if the signal is lost. Some people enable the angle mode here and add some throttle. This can help to get the signal back if the drone climbs straight up. I personally don't like this setting because if I fly through a gap or a hole, I want the drone to keep its current speed and direction. In Stage 2, you can configure the behavior of the drone after the Stage 1 period. Just disarm and drop the drone where it is, try to land at the current position or return to home by GPS rescue. The first two settings don't make much sense when flying long range. So we go with the GPS rescue setting. The altitude mode is crucial. I started with max altitude and everything went well for a long time. The drone is getting up to its highest altitude during the current flight, adds some more meters and then takes its way back home. You can be pretty sure to overfly any obstacles on the way back home. This works well because normally I lose signal at the highest point of my flight or during the climb to a peak. But what if you lose signal during the way back, being 500 meters below your highest altitude during the flight? I had to face this problem when my goggles went black multiple times during a flight. The goggles were broken and I restarted them several times. Every time the goggles went black, the drone went up to the maximum altitude, plus some extra meters. This took a lot of energy and the drone barely made it back. Since then, I have changed the mode to current altitude, plus a high initial climb value. For me, this is a good compromise, making it home and hopefully overfly all obstacles on the way. In some versions of Betaflight, the initial climb value is not available here in the Failsafe tab. You can set it via console with set GPS rescue initial climb equals 80, for example. Don't forget to save after setting the value in the console. The other settings here are according to your drone. The defaults are working fine for most drones. The bigger the drone, I set a higher return ground speed. The throttle hover can be calculated by your throttle position, which you display in the OSD, and the maximum range of your receiver throttle input. You need this for accurate landing if you want to use this. I never use this and always take control back as soon as possible. In my case, the throttle range is between 1020 and 1900. So we have a total range of 880 and my Nazgul is hovering at throttle position 26 in the OSD. 0.26 multiplied with 880 is 229. 1020 plus 229 is 1249. I rounded up to 1250 and set this value here. In the Presets tab, you get started with a good or perfect preset for your drone. Use them for your builds if there is a suitable preset for your setup available. There are also some other useful presets. I use the TBS Crossfire preset to lock the package rate at 50 Hz. You can find a short video about this here on my channel. We've already been in the Receiver tab for the throttle range. But there is another important setting, the telemetry switch. Enable this to send telemetry data back to your transmitter for display. This can be very useful if you have to find your drone after a crash far away. The GPS data can be transmitted to the remote control and can help find the last or the current position of your drone. There is also a video about this topic here on my channel. In the Modes tab, be sure to enable the GPS rescue mode. The GPS rescue is enabled automatically when your receiver loses connection to your remote. If you just lose the video signal, you want to be able to activate the mode manually. Choose a switch on your remote that is accessible easily. The GPS tab has not many settings. Configure this according to your GPS module. The only setting I can recommend over all modules is the set home point only once. Enable this. If you accidentally disarm during flight, your original home point will be gone and your drone won't come back in GPS rescue mode. The home point is set at the first arming after the battery is connected, so it is still reset after every battery disconnection. That's it. Configure your OSD so that you feel confident with it. Not all values make sense for everyone. Too much information in the OSD can be confusing, can also make it hard to quickly find the value you need. And always keep in mind, be prepared before flying long range. Know your surroundings and plan a route to go for. If you are well prepared and know how to read the values in your OSD, the chances you run into a GPS rescue situation are low. But we never know, and it is very calming to have this backup set up correctly. Thanks for watching and always fly safe. Cheers!